So, the plan is we're going to travel to a place called Isfahan, which is in Iran. We're going to travel by way of Dubai, Bahrain and Tehran, and we're going to see the eclipse. And we're going to see it at its point of totality. My story starts really when I'm in my 20s, and I'm lumbered with a mortgage, and I watch all my friends go off backpacking around the world. So they all go to Australia and they go to Indonesia and around Asia and enjoy themselves while I'm working. So when my company offered me the opportunity to go overseas and to pay me well to work overseas, it was an opportunity I wasn't going to miss. I must admit that only a year before I wouldn't even have known where Oman was. And it was April 1997 when I was mobilised to Oman. So I've always been very keen in natural phenomena, and an eclipse is something I had always wanted to see. So I was in an opportunity very close by to Iran to get to see the total eclipse. So that eclipse actually went right across Europe. So people in Cornwall in the south of England got to see it as well. But they had cloud cover. Most of Europe had cloud cover. When we chose Iran, we chose it because it was the closest place and the easiest to get to. But I'd always wanted to travel to Iran. It was one of my bucket list places to visit. And in the planning stages now, we're operating a computer program. We didn't particularly read that Isfahan was the right place to see this eclipse. We found it using a computer program called Redshift, and we saw the shadow across Europe, and we tracked it across Iran and then to Isfahan, which was the nearest place we could fly to. The moon's shadow as it crosses the face of the Earth. This spot is the epicenter of totality. So this point is Isfahan, which is where we're going to end up. And the shadow you can see there is just slightly southwest of the town. It was pre-internet. We were just pre-internet. You know, we had email, but nobody in the office had the internet. So I mean, nowadays you would Google and you would be able to view and see wherever you're going before you go there, and there wouldn't be any surprises. But in those days, we really were. It was really down to phone calls to make all my organising, and I was very lucky that I found a company in Tehran called Caravan Sahar. I don't know if they're still operating, but they were able to organise my visa, which is never going to be an easy thing to do when you're living in the desert in another country, is organise a visa. So I was very lucky that they did that for me. And they organised our hotels, and they were supposed to organise our flights, but unfortunately that was one thing that fell down on the day. Well, I've managed to book flights through Emirates eventually, stopping in Dubai, and I've managed to sort out the visas as well through a company in Tehran. They seem very helpful, and they're also arranging all our hotels and transfers, which seems very good. So yeah, we set off. We flew to Dubai to start with, and stayed a night there before moving on to Tehran. And then from Tehran there was an internal flight down to Isfahan, but that was the flight that hadn't been booked. It's Monday the 9th of August, and today's the day we set off for Dubai, start of our Iran eclipse mission. We're watching the news in our Dubai hotel room, and it appears that the UK's got eclipse frenzy at the moment.
We're hearing, you're not a weather forecaster, but we are hearing that Devon now is supposed to be going to be better than Cornwall.
just arrived in Tehran, and the weather's lovely. It's 9 o'clock in the evening and it's very cool. It's a beautiful city and it's very green.
We arrived at night, and I don't think Tehran ever sleeps from the look of things, because it was a very, very busy city, even at night. Traffic was incredible. Back in the 70s in the UK, we used to have these cars called Hillman Hunters, and I think they're called something different in Tehran, but basically the same model of car, and a lot of them, and all dented, all vying for every inch of road space, and that was quite exciting. That was like being in some kind of race.
It consists of old Hillman Avengers, and it's a bit like a banger race. Okay. This beautiful monument is at Freedom Square.
Yeah.
Well, first impressions of Iran have been very good. We had a nice chap meet us at the airport and drove us here in a really marvellous banger race that we paid money to see normally. And terrific atmosphere, real nice buzz, everyone's very friendly, and a real nice warm vibe. It seems a really nice place. We changed $200 US. This is what they gave us, which is it's a bit of a house brick of cash, really. There's hundreds of thousands, I imagine. Is it millions?
Tens of thousands.
That's a million. A million!
A million reals. Half a million.
Half a million. Cool, we're sorted.
And a bit of loose change.
So on the morning, with a couple of hours to spare, I found that we didn't have tickets, and you know, I mean, there's a good chance we weren't going to be able to get there. We would have gone so far but nowhere. But yeah, luckily I got the ticket, paid cash, got on the flight, and we were away. So, you know, it was a surprise when we got on the plane and read the in-flight magazine and saw that all the other scientists, all the scientists were going there because this was the best place to see the eclipse. The square has like a souk all the way around it, a covered alleyway full of very interesting shops and alcoves, blacksmiths, people working copper, and that was fascinating. And I bought the bedspreads. We've still got the bedspreads, you know, the big block-dyed bedspreads.
The town seems quite well prepared for the eclipse. You can see people with t-shirts. We've just been interviewed by Iranian television, so we're celebrities. Okay, it's 2:15, and in our reflection here we've got a very slight bite showing in the west at the bottom there.
Tehran, and especially in Isfahan, and I wrote about it when I came back, but a lot of people approached me. A lot of young people wanted to know where I was from, what did I think of the country, what do you think of our good country, where are you from? So this was a question that kept going on. I think a lot of people wanted to practice their English, but they were very keen and very interested to know why we were there.
We're on T-minus 30 minutes and anticipation is building.
So we chose the bridge over the river, and it was a beautiful location. It was a very good flat location and a lot of people there. But in hindsight, I think I should have gone to the square.
We're on T-minus 10. It's getting noticeably dimmer now. The light's fading ever so slightly. The bright sunshine's on its way out. Got about a minute to go now. Whoa!
I've seen 3 eclipses, and one in India was hundreds of thousands of people singing, dancing, banging drums, getting very excited, great atmosphere. The one in Iran, everyone was whistling and crying and shouting, and everyone was excited. And then the one I saw in Australia, hardly a word, nobody spoke, and that had no atmosphere.
Oh my word.
We had been given a welding glass from our on-site welding inspector on site where I worked, and he got the spec wrong. We should have had 2 of these things. So, you know, most people look through mylar glasses and they get protected. We were looking for an inadequate welding shield.
Just incredible. Got a bit of it. There's a diamond rig. Okay, now look away. Now it's the light. What's the light now? Yeah. Oh yeah, come straight light. What a rush. Shaking. Really lost for words. It was all over so very quick, but so dramatic.
I went back to Iran a couple of years later on business, and again I would have not known, but the people I was working with were telling me stories.
Crowds dispersing now and life turning back to normal. Back at the hotel now, and still can't really put it all into words, but it lived up to my expectations 100%, and it was totally fantastic, totally close. So it's the end of the trip now, and I'm off to get the bus home because the travel arrangements went pear-shaped again, but what a fantastic trip it's been, and thanks for joining me.
We were stuck in Isfahan and we couldn't fly out back, there was no flights, so we had to get a bus. So the last night we spent on a bus. Back to Dubai and back to Oman to tell our story. Returning to the office in Oman, I can remember vividly going into the reception with my friend Ian. Ian was the guy I was travelling with, and he knew my wife Maryam from working in the office, and she was in the reception talking to a friend at the time, and she saw us come in and she wanted to know where we'd been and what we'd been doing, and we told her our story. And she was very interested, and that was the first time I'd actually had a conversation with Maryam other than here's a document during the work. It was a year after my eclipse. My wife and I got married.